Hello, hello. It is high noon, folks. Please take your seats for the greatest show on marketing. Welcome to LA2M. My name is Derek Merrimon, CEO of Ingenix Digital Marketing. How is everybody doing today?
Great.
Doing all right, great. Enthusiastic crowd, we like that. You're in for a treat today. We have another one of those brilliant speakers that we tend to have. So that's wonderful. I'm really excited about today. And this is our monthly meeting of LA2M, which still feels a little weird because we did it weekly for 6 years, but we switched to monthly just because weekly was basically just a little too much. So we're testing out monthly for the rest of this year. How is monthly feeling for you guys? Does it seem okay? Yeah? Kind of frees up your calendar a little bit? I know. Some people maybe don't like it. I know, it's tough. But anyway, so we're monthly now. Monthly meeting of LA2M. We've been doing this since 2008. So this is we're finishing our 6th season, I believe, which is wonderful. And yeah, is there anyone here for your very first LA2M? Can I see some hands, first timers? Okay. Good. Well, what motivated you guys to come out, newcomers?
First time networking, professional networking through our professor, actually, Bud Gibson.
Bud Gibson motivated you. Okay, good. Who else has an interesting reason you came? Why'd you guys come?
People here, Jordan.
Jordan told you about it.
Yeah.
Good job, Jordan. Thanks. All right, how about you guys up front? Your friend told you about it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, so the idea here is that we teach about different topics. People that usually come here are people that want to learn about marketing, improve their skills, really kind of build their personal portfolio, but it also is good networking, and you get to meet some nice people. The format for this meeting, our speaker will start in a couple minutes, and he'll talk for a while, maybe 30 minutes. There will be time for Q&A, and then at 12:45, everybody gets to introduce yourself. So you will get a chance to stand up and say who you are and what you do, and that's a good way to find out if there's somebody you want to talk with afterwards. We always finish by 1 p.m., so you will be out here by 1 no matter what, so you can plan for that. If you want food, they have a really good menu. Just order off the menu with the servers, and you pay them directly. So Counter O'Neill's full lunch menu. LA2M is a 501c3, so we're an educational nonprofit. We don't necessarily make money. I know you guys pay to get in. The reason that is we do have hard costs. So we were just operating in the negative, and now we kind of stay afloat, which is great, thanks to your $5. So we appreciate that. We also have sponsors. We have sponsors, and Briarwood Mall is our kind of platinum sponsor for the year. They're our last sponsor that we have going right now. Briarwood Mall, so great marketing opportunities at Briarwood, obviously great shopping opportunities. But if anyone's looking to get into marketing at Briarwood, you can talk to me or Jim Musial if you want to get an introduction there. Briarwood gave a real cool talk a while about experiential marketing. So, does anyone have any brief announcements or things to say before we kick this thing off? Anyone have any burning thing they need to say? Anything? Anyone? Okay. All right, well then without further ado, am I missing anything? Oh, I want to give out this t-shirt. This is a t-shirt. Scott, we're going to give you a t-shirt. All right. It may be small, we only have a medium. You can give it to your wife or...
I definitely won't.
Yeah. This is from back...
But I can have a use for it.
Yeah, you can have a use for it.
Look over this way.
It's all right. It's all right. That's the t-shirt shot. It's all right. We know what happened.
Thank you.
That's from Bankman Arbor because they helped. Yes, Jim.
Video, retweeting, live tweeting.
Oh, thank you, Jim. I know. I feel like I haven't done this in a while. So we are live. Follow LA2M on Twitter. You can join along and tweet some of the brilliant things that are being said and join the conversation. And also Roger Rail live streams this, so thank you, Roger. LA2M.org/live. You can always follow along. Carter takes pictures, which is great, which will be posted on Facebook. So lots of ways.
We'll do it again?
All right, we'll do it again. All right, the money shot. All right, thank you. Thanks, Carter. So anyway, so today we have a really cool guy. Now Scott, I've never really met him until today, but I'm glad I met him. He's been a part of the Detroit agency world for a while. You know, we were talking about how I've kind of followed his career, Moselle, BBDO, following the Chrysler account, and it's really interesting. But these guys, Scott, Bill Morton, and Mike Vogel started TMV Group a while back. TMV Group in Royal Oak, cool agency. I think they do great work. And today Scott is talking about the word, which is a philosophy I'm sure he'll tell you, but George Lois, one of his mentors, had this philosophy, and I'm really excited to hear about it because I'm a real student of advertising, and Scott got to work with some of these great guys like Lois. And so let's give Scott Thornton a warm round of applause and welcome him to LA2M.
Oops, I'm going to turn this on. I think I run out of battery. Can you hear me?
No.
Is this working?
There you go. Yeah, I'll turn it up.
How about now? Is that better?
Yeah.
You good? Okay, so if you can't hear me, just raise your hand, I'll adjust. Anyways, thanks a lot, Derek, and thanks everybody for coming today. I'm really excited about being able to talk to you about this subject that I'm going to tell you about. And I was fortunate enough to work with some really great agencies all over the world with the biggest budgets, the biggest challenges, and some of the brightest people in the industry, and I learned so much from that. I'm just a fortunate career for me, and I'm going to pass some of the one part of that on to you today. And as Derek said, this idea of the word, and I'll step back a little bit and talk about Shakespeare. One of his comments was, there isn't anything scarier than staring at a blank page for a writer. And that's true for anybody, and you'll see today that the things you're going to learn today will help you if you're writing a letter, if you're talking to somebody, if you're preparing for a meeting, if you're developing a business plan, if you're writing an ad, if you're running a giant corporation. You're going to see that the insights we have here about how to really connect with your customers can apply across the board. So it's really fascinating. These things are born out of a technique called the archetype study or a metaphor study, which we've done all over the world for a lot of different things. I'm going to report on a couple of them here for you so you get the idea. And really what it does, it lays out the challenge, and this is another George Lois saying, who was a famous writer and just one of the icons of the industry. And his thought was getting a big idea is not an act of inspiration, but rather one of discovery. And so you sit down, and I started out as a product information person, where I looked at, all right, well, this car has this much ground clearance and this much headroom and trunk room and all that. So you really get into detail. And it's kind of that way now. The data is driving people to solve their problems with rational data, solve their communications problems, solve their hiring, their training problems with rational data. And you're sort of missing the human side of it and the compassionate side of it. So if you understand the relationship between the rational and the emotional, you're going to come out way ahead. And believe me, most companies don't understand this the way that I'm going to explain to you today. Most companies, as I said in my write-up that's on the website, will say, I have this product, it has these qualities, I'm going to sell it to those people for this much money. And really, they don't care about that. You have to understand what emotional context they come to your industry. And if you understand that, then you can win with that structure. So that is the big little secret, is the emotional context by which people come to your industry. So we did something on the health insurance recently, and you would think the people in the health insurance with the Affordable Care Act they're looking for a PPO or an HMO, or they're looking for doctors, or they're looking for all that. Actually, they're not looking for any of that. It is so confusing and so stressful for them that they really are looking for a company who can help them navigate the stuff that if they don't make the right decision on having health care or having the right plan, it could result in seriously bad things to humans, like death, or I go broke, or my children won't be taken care of, and those kinds of things. So there's some beginning to see the underlying emotional context by which people come to the health insurance industry. And you know, most health insurance, they're kind of getting it now, but most health insurance companies are always talking about their products. I have a PPO 1500 or HMO 500, and they're like, okay, I don't want to know that. I don't really care. Help me through this process and get me in and get me out so I can go back to my normal. So that is the discussion we have around every one of our clients, is this idea of what are you selling versus what are you providing. So when you're writing a letter or running a business, whatever, you have to understand that relationship between what you're providing the customer and what you're selling them. So your product and what it provides for them, or their rational versus the emotional. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I did sleep at a nice hotel. But this is important to understand that there's three parts of the brain, main parts of the brain: the reptilian, the limbic, and the cortex. And the reptilian part of the brain is the part that you can't kill yourself by holding your breath, or when wind blows in your eyes, you have to blink, those kinds of things. Those are the auto things. And then the limbic part is the emotional part. That's the part of your brain takes over that says, hey, I make $30,000 a year and I'm going to go buy that red Corvette because I really like that red Corvette. And that's completely irrational, but it's really emotional. So, and then there's the cortex, which is all the emotional stuff. Now, the way to sell somebody is to sell to their heart first, their limbic first, and then you can attach your rational messages on them. I'll give you one example that we did when I was working at Derek said I worked at Chrysler, which I did, and they had when airbags first came out, they had baby seats with they would put in the front seat, and you strap them in and drive around, and it was fine, and until the airbag went off, and the airbag went off and would deploy and shoot the kids in the back seat. It was killing kids. It was a really bad deal. So they drafted this whole letter about, well, an airbag, or our airbag technology is second to none. We have sensors all over the place. They're lickety-split. We spend all this time engineering our vehicles so you'll be protected by airbags. And we got a hold of it knowing what I'm going to explain to you today. And said, wait a minute, you have to appeal first to their emotionally and then rationally. So we rewrote it with one simple line in the front of the release, and it said, at Chrysler, there isn't anything more important to us. Like you, there isn't anything more important to us at Chrysler than the health and safety of our children. And then you could say everything about the airbag technology and all that, but you've connected emotionally with them first, and once you read, they go, oh, they understand, they're sympathetic, they get it, they hit me in the limbic part of my brain. And all great sales presentations, all great brands, which there aren't very many, by the way, use this and understand this. Certainly Apple is one, Nike is one, Home Depot, Starbucks. But the list gets pretty thin fairly quickly. So the way we go about uncovering this this relationship is we do studies where we ask people to tell stories, and you can do the same thing. In other words, you listen to what they're saying, not what they're telling you. So you ask people. Say for instance, one of the things we did when I did the merger between Chrysler and Daimler-Benz, is they had the Germans on one side of the room and the Americans on the other side of the room. And we all wanted to be what they called I want to be a leading corporation. So it went back and forth. Well, what do you think a leading corporation is? And of course, there was this huge battle between what the Americans thought a leading corporation was and what the Germans thought a leading corporation was. So we went and did some research. And so we asked people in America, a lot of people in the States and in Germany, what's your impression of a leading corporation? So the leading corporation in Germany is this notion of the good husband. And in the great corporations in Germany, like you buy a Leica camera, you pay $10,000 for it, and it works flawlessly. It never fails, and you can pass it on to generations to come. In America, they don't do that, and I'll get to that in a minute. But so the leading corporation is a corporation that, just like a good husband, and this is their term, not mine, and through stories, we found out that these people, that it's reliable. They do the same thing over and over again. You can trust them. They're not particularly exciting. They're not particularly boring. But they're just sort of there, and they do their thing, and they provide for Germany, and the companies are like that. So all the BMW, Mercedes, they're all like that. You get a job there, you get a job for life. They're really reliable. And we found that through stories. So on the other side, this is interesting, In the United States, the leading corporation is, the code is the suitor. Now, I worked in Canada for many years, and one guy told me a very interesting point about Canada. He said, because the Canadian people are sort of like, well, come on, don't you want to like move faster? Aren't you a little more aggressive? You know, and they're sort of like, yeah, well, okay, we'll get to it. We'll do it tomorrow. And they plod along. But they're an evolutionary society, and America is a revolutionary society, and there's a difference there. So that kind of thinking plays into what the code is for the leading corporation in America. And it is called the suitor. And the suitor is someone who, you know, your best friends, your first love, whatever, they were so exciting. They're always, every time you meet them, they're telling you something new. They're experiencing, they're usually leaders and say, come on, let's go do this. And so the suitor is this person that Americans absolutely view as the leading corporation. And of course, who can tell me the leading suitor company in America right now? Apple. Nike the same way, if you're into like 1,000 different pairs of gym shoes. But so the idea of a suitor is a really interesting thing. And we found that through people telling us stories about what did you know, tell me a story about the first time you ever experienced this German company. And then tell me a story about the most impactful time you experienced a German company, and then tell me a recent time you experienced a German company. And what you do is you quiet down the rational brain by asking them the first time. And people sit back and they go, oh, wow, the first time. Well, let's see. My dad came home from work, and he had a big smile on his face, and mom was happy, and we sat down to dinner, and it was really a great time. And it has nothing to do about the company. But it has all this to do about emotion, and so, and then you continue to explore, and you find common words in these stories that lead to the notion of the good husband, or, and the good husband is the name we just put to it, but those traits of reliable, steadfast, you know, always there, loyal, those kinds of things. So that's how you do it if you need to do that, and you can do that with anybody. So the idea of uncovering these emotional sides work if you're running a company or you're writing a letter to your grandmother. Now, at the same time, we did a very interesting study on what quality and loyalty is. Now, quality in Germany is something like back to my Leica camera idea. It's something you buy a Mercedes or a BMW or a Leica, and you pay a lot for it, only it works flawlessly, and you never have to worry about it. And that's sort of the German standard. And so quality there is, in Germany, is the idea of really reliable, never fails. I pay for it, but it never fails, and it always works because they're the good husband. Now, in America, the loyalty, the quality archetype is, the code is, I'll always be there for you, which is, like, Americans don't expect the products they buy to work, which is mind-boggling. But they do expect you to be there for them when they don't work. So Nordstrom's is the perfect company to figure this out. Remember when they first started, you could buy anything at Nordstrom's. If you didn't like it, take it back, no questions asked. At Costco, the same way. I bought a giant grill from Costco like 3 years ago, and it never did work, and I had it around my house, and I finally said, oh, I'm going to take it back. And I thought, oh great, I don't have the receipt or anything. I took it in there, yep, no problem, here's a card, 500 bucks, whatever it was, I got it back. So that is the definition of loyalty in America. And now you got to make good products, but you get the idea. Now, I'm going to show you the code for loyalty is always there for you. And let me get out of this for a second and show you an idea we did for one of our clients that sort of describes loyalty in the healthcare field.
Always
hold on here.
What is it that stirs us?
Technical difficulties.
That's all right. We don't expect it to work the first time. So.
Thank you. Yes, that's true. But I was there for you.
Always and forever. What is it that stirs in us when we hear these words? Are we longing for something immortal in a mortal world? An antidote to the vicissitudes of life? But change, however we feel about it, is life's only absolute constant. In accepting this, it's natural that we look for things that remain as loyal to us as can be in the face of inevitable change. Things that are consistent, not contingent. Forever, not fleeting. Something always there for you. If there is a universal expression that packs a greater wallop than "I love you," it's "I will always be there for you." I will always be here to help you, to hear you, to understand, in good times and bad. I'm here. I care. The closest word we have to describe it is loyalty, a deep and abiding trust in another human soul that is peerless, priceless, and timeless. If you've ever known it, it can make you feel like the center of the universe, where every problem solution is immediately evident, where a crisis is met with calm. It's a rare and wonderful thing to be that for another person. It's the most human thing we are. And to be this, we just have to remember who we are. 650 doctors, the hospitals you want, the specialists you need. The Wayne State University Physicians Group, we are for you.
So there's a real tendency to pick these codes and use them as copy, like, oh, I'm the Scott Thornton company and I'm the suitor. Now, no one will know what that is, and no one will know always there for you. So you have to really dive into what's underneath that and explain it in a way that is suitor-like or loyalty-like this. And you get the idea of how you take these emotional things, you can bring them into really powerful communication. These people aren't looking, they're looking for a doctor, and they're looking for the doctor's office that hours are open and that kind of stuff, but they really are looking for this kind of stuff. They're looking for a doctor to be loyal to them, to really understand them, to be able to provide for their family and themselves, and particularly when most of the medical choices are made by women in the family situation. They have, this is a reflection and a desire for them to be providers of their family, and men too, but most of the decisions, the fact that most of them are made by women. So that was the idea of loyalty. Now I'm going to see if you guys have been listening, and I'm going to ask you, we did one of these studies for the Chrysler minivan. So what do you think the word is for the Chrysler minivan? That would be the word that is the emotional word that you can then begin to write around, or create around, or build products around, or hire around, or train around for this thing. Anybody got any idea? And there's a hint. There's a hint in this slide.
Togetherness.
You're close.
Family?
You're getting warmer. It's the kitchen table.
Oh.
Now, it's interesting because when we did these stories, people said, "Oh, I drive my minivan." Again, what's your first experience, your most impactful, and your most recent? They say, "Well, my first experience, I bought this minivan, and I didn't know if I liked it. I was going to want to be a minivan person. And then when I got it, I packed up the kids and we drove out to see Grandma and Grandpa, and it was, oh my God, we were talking and laughing, and the stories we tell around, it's just like the kitchen table in your home." Now, if you know that kind of research, if you know that that emotional connection people have with that product, it's not about the fact that it'll hold a 4x8 sheet of plywood or it gets so many miles per gallon. It's about you can have a better life with your family and then in this vehicle. So once you hit them from the limbic part and you connect emotionally, the rest is easy. All you have to do is hook your rational things on there. Like I have all these cup holders for all my kids to put their cups in it, or the seats turn around and actually make a kitchen table. I don't know if they ever did that one, but that was the idea. Okay, I'm getting close to the end here. So I did one for, there's another construct I use, and I did one for today to try to understand how I can connect with you emotionally. And this is what we do, and we call it the logic of emotion. And so I suppose that everyone here knows what they're doing, but to some degree they don't know. So they wake up in the morning and they say, hey, I run a business, or I'm looking for a job, or whatever I'm doing, looking to connect. I know what I need to know. I know what I need to do. I know what I need to know, but there's some part of it that I really don't know. So this notion of I know, but I don't know is how I thought you guys started off your emotional presence here. And that means you have to enter the unknown. And for Americans, the unknown is exciting because we're revolutionary and we're explorers and we're suitors, but it's still scary. So the unknown is something that is not comfortable to most people. And if you make the wrong decision, there are big consequences. You could not get a job, but then you could get a job. You could, who knows what you could do? You could find the next person who would be your best employee. Or you could embarrass yourself for some reason, so there's huge consequences on the emotional side. And so you have to weigh the danger versus the opportunity, whether or not you want to speak up, meet people, those kinds of things. So I think that there is a certain amount of struggle. So the code for, and I just did this in an hour without any kind of stories or anything, but the notion would be, this is just to illustrate how you work through this. The notion would be that you guys are in some degree of a struggle. And struggle doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could be a struggle for success or a struggle for personal gratification or whatever. So then I thought, all right, now how do I apply to that? And I did my own logic of motion for Scott. So I have an inherent desire to serve and deliver results. I mean, I'm just that kind of guy. I'm in the service business. I have been all my life. I'm an observer and a student of human behavior, and I see that you guys are possibly in a struggle situation, and I may be able to have an effect on you. And I'm passionate and compassionate, so I understand the rational and the emotional side of what you guys are doing. I have specific areas of expertise that I can bring here that might be able to help you. And I seek out people that I can help, because people who have an inherent desire to serve and deliver results do that. They seek out friends and family, and they weigh in and they say, hey, how can I help? And they row in the boat. So I think that my code would be that I could help bring confidence to someone who is in the struggle. So that's just an illustrative way to look at the thinking that we do. And hopefully give you some ideas on, ask stories, do some of these logic of emotions for yourself. And believe me, these strategies that we do, like the one that we did in the healthcare industry for an insurance company, ended up really driving the way the company ran. Who they hired, how they incentivized them, how they trained them. I mean, look at Nordstrom's had to retrain everybody when they realized that loyalty was about being there for you when something went wrong. And that means you don't hire people who are just robots. You have to hire people that understand that. You train them that way. You incentivize them that way. So I know I came today under a marketing title, but really these kinds of insights work across the board, and they work in every aspect of your life. And when I was doing, I did about 22 of these things around the world, and the various guys that did this with me said, be careful, once you get into these metaphor and archetype studies, it will change the way you look at everything. I can't go to a movie, I can't talk to people, I can't do anything without thinking about this stuff. It's like becomes all consuming. So be careful, don't let it get to you too bad, but it's really insightful stuff. And think about it next time you're staring at that blank sheet of paper. So just to sum it up, listen to what people are saying, not what they're telling you. So, when someone's talking to you about a sales pitch or telling you what they want, understand what's the emotional things, and you'll get cues within the writing. And a lot of times, if there's a visceral reaction, like abundance of laughter or crying or angst. And in a group situation, if you see that, that means there's something there. So start to explore that. For instance, the minivan stories, like, oh, the first time they look back and they say, they do things like this. Well, I was kind of out there and this made me feel in. So if people are doing this and more than 5 or 6 people do that, you go, well, okay, so I wonder why they're doing that. And you ask yourself and you find out what they really want is they want to be part of something. They want to be in. So, you know, it's just interesting little things to look at. And then find the word and you'll find out what you're really providing, not what you're selling. And you combine the two with the emotional rational and you got a good way to go. So with that, I'll entertain any questions you'd like.
If you have a question, just raise your hand and I'll bring the microphone over. Who's got something? Susan.
Can you give us, this is just wonderful, more examples of your approach to a specific company? If it's not giving too much away.
Well, some of it's proprietary, so
yeah.
I think, Patrick, you got any ideas what we can use as an example?
I mean, great expressions might have been a good one, getting away from the standard and separating yourself from the CSA miss.
Oh, I'll give you one. I'll give you a really good one that everybody will know. That I can use because it's public information. The Jeep brand was when I first started working with them in 1979. It was just fascinating. It was essentially a military vehicle that they had laying there, saying, "What are we going to do with that thing? It's pretty cool, but you know." No one, everybody was tired of the war, and they aren't really interested in that. It's the 70s, and you know we're looking at other things in life. So the engineers kept coming to us as the ad agency and said, "Well, no, you got to say that it's rugged and tough and 4-wheel drive, and it's has this ground clearance, and it does all this kind of stuff." And we said, "Well, you know, okay, but doesn't the word Jeep say that?" So if your brand says what you already do, don't bother to repeat it, because people understand what that is. And what that does, it gives you the opportunity to say a lot of other things on the emotional side about the brand. So we came up with the word for Jeep, and that was the word freedom. So what Jeep was selling was a 4-wheel drive vehicle. What they were providing was freedom. And for the longest time, we never put any people in a Jeep ad, because we just showed the Jeep out there on some idyllic mountain, and the customers projected themselves into there and said, "Oh man, I really want to. I want to be in Colorado on top of that mountain where I can smell. I'm free. I'm not working. All that kind of stuff." So we've sold freedom for the next 20 years, and Jeep is still leading the pack in the 4-wheel drive sport utility vehicles. Matter of fact, they just had the Wrangler at the time, and essentially with that thinking, we created the sport utility vehicle market. So that's one example of how you went from the rational to the emotional. Now, you always show them going off-road, and you show them, you know, with high ground clearance and rugged and tough and 4-wheel drive, but you don't say that. You show that in an environment of freedom, and that's what creates a great brand. Is right there.
Did you ever use the word freedom, or was it just showing freedom?
Very rarely, and that's a good point, Eric. Like I said, the tendency to use these things like, "Oh, always there for you." You'll see that all the time. People get that, but you don't ever want to say, "I'm always there for you," because if you have to say that, then you're not acting loyal. What you do is you act that way. You build your business, you build your brand that way, and that communicates in its own way that you're always there for you. Now, it's pretty hard to use to advertise Jeep and not use the word freedom. We kind of stayed away from it until 15, 18 years later, when you got, you know, different people in as the heads of the marketing, and of course they want to change everything and fix it. As a matter of fact, when you find a brand like this, and if your own brands, the hardest thing about it is having people keep their hands off, because these points that I'm making are universal truths. And for someone to come to Jeep and say, we don't use freedom anymore, we want to use something else, that would be completely the wrong thing to do. That's how powerful these things are. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Who else has a question?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say thank you. I'm a non-engineer. I'm a very emotional person. So when I present, I tend to maybe go detail and rational, because I'm always trying to compensate for the emotional side. So you got me at a point now where I need to kind of go back and reevaluate how I do my conversations with people, and maybe put a better balance into that. But I always have an underneath feeling like I'm trying to overcompensate the fact that I'm always into the emotional.
Yeah, it's not an overcompensation, it's a necessity. Just remember that letter of Chrysler and the airbags. And there's I mean, you have to be able to, explain your product from a rational standpoint, but if you can, like Apple is just perfect. Apple is the ultimate suitor, and they know this, and their products are always like that. And they don't sell them that it's, holds so many songs, although it's in there somewhere, like an iPod or something like that. They sell them because it makes your life easier.
Awesome. Someone, thank you.
So when you're going through a grading process and you find like the word for your client, do you ever have an instance where you did all this research but the client disagrees with you what the word is, and you try to persuade them to?
That's a very good point, and the answer to that is no. And the reason why is these studies are all done with the client in tow. Some of the studies we did are, $1 million for these things with some of the stuff we did back and forth to Germany and the U.S. So it's an expensive undertaking, and again, the stakes, the risk and the reward is high, and the consequences for not doing it right is high. So if they're going to pay a lot of money, they're going to be involved. And so what we do is, in part of the storytelling process, the clients, like it's a room like this where there'll be a moderator and say, okay gang, today we're going to talk about health insurance. And believe me, and the clients are seated in the room. Now they're not supposed to participate because it's okay if you don't have anything to say in a research thing like that. But you peel it back, health insurance, and all of a sudden the air gets sucked out of the room, and people go, oh, scam, horrible, I hate it. Okay, now there's a visceral reaction that you say, you got to write down and say, God, we got to explore that. But the clients they're seeing it. So by the time you come up with the word, they're like coming up with it right along with you. And sometimes the clients won't come up with the word. And you have to do it that way, in my estimation, because these strategies, the deeper you drive them into the corporation, the more powerful they are. And it's as simple as that. That's what Starbucks has done. That's what Nike and Apple has done. They just drive it right down to the bike rack, and make sure that everybody understands it. So the more the clients are involved, the better the traction will be with it. So the answer is, they always jump out of their tables and go, oh my God, the freedom is fantastic. And then all of a sudden they're disciples until that generation leaves, you get a new generation in, and you have to do it over again, or you have to fight for it, and that's the hard part. That answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any resource suggestions that you can recommend that will go along with this kind of thought process and researching this further?
Well, I would read the book. What's
the big idea?
Yeah, what's the big idea? And that's a short book to read, and that will help you understand that. There's also a doctor in Paris that claims to have invented the metaphor study. I'm not so sure that he did. But his name is Dr. Clotaire Rapaille. Rapaille, I believe. And he's written a couple books on the archetype. But it's just really about understanding the emotional stuff and drawing a metaphor from it. So the metaphor for Jeep is freedom. And you know, if you want to, I'll give you my card. I'll think more about that if you want more resources. But those are the two that come to mind.
Yeah, forward it to the list.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Any other questions? So I have a question. I know you mentioned Apple, and so when you see commercials these days, and advertising has totally shifted, it's not just television anymore, but are there some brands where you're like, wow, these guys really get it, they understand, I can see clearly what the word is, and then there's some that they don't get it, they're really missing the point, and who's doing a great job?
Oh, let's see.
Or a bad job?
Yeah, I mean, besides Apple, let's see, locally here, you could say Pure Michigan is like the perfect example of they have found the word, maybe it's pure, I don't know what it is, but you really don't know what the word is because the word drives how they present themselves. So Pure Michigan is a good one. The bad ones are every local car dealer on earth. They're just, they don't get it. It's not about shouting louder about what your price is. And, you know, you've all had people, you know, that the louder they talk, the more they think they're going to be successful, and it's like it's completely the opposite. But now that you know this, you'll see. Let's put that question out to everybody. Is it? Can anybody point to an advertising campaign? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bank of Ann Arbor.
No, I haven't seen that, but is it that you think they have
do
the
it
word?
local. They really concentrate on local. Their word is local.
So they're not talking about savings rates.
No, they put up local sayings. Yeah, Bank of Ann Arbor knows local because they know what this saying means.
Right. So they're trying to. They obviously found that the word must be that local is good, or you know, and that's true because banks, you know, within a 5 or 10 mile radius, that's all their customers. So, yeah.
They do the T-shirt too.
What T-shirt?
The one you got. One can't wear.
Oh, really? Bank of Ann Arbor did this?
They donate it.
Oh, cool.
Well, that's interesting because their campaign is Bank of Ann Arbor helps, but then they really they talk about local.
That's perfect because okay. Here's what I would look at that and I would say that's perfect because again the emotional, like me. I guess I made a fair amount of money in my career, and I know nothing about how to manage it. I'm terrible, and I don't want to know. It scares me. I make an investment, and I'm like nervous, and I just soon say, look, and I have this guy. I said, you do it for me, okay? Just I don't want to deal with it. So I'm not looking for interest rates. I'm not looking to analyze. I don't want to look at charts and graphs. I want someone who helps, and that's what they did. So their word may be help. Local help or help by people you know. Who knows, but that would be my guess. Yes?
So what is your word?
For me? I've never done that. You'd have to interview me and I'd have to tell you a story. It would be really emotional because I'm an emotional guy. Let's see. I don't know. I couldn't. I'd have to start with my first experience in life. But anyways.
How about your company?
Our company, we've never done it for our company, but my guess it would be something on the line of what I did for myself here. Our clients are looking for a way, and they're looking for brands that they're launching a brand or a new product, or they're involved in a merger and acquisition, or they're involved in some sort of transition in their business, and they're looking for, they know but they don't know, and they're looking for someone who can help them with that and not really tell them what to do, but give them the confidence that they can have in themselves to make the right decisions. So it'd be somewhere around confidence.
Awesome. All right, well, that is we're out of time. So let's give Scott a warm round of applause. Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And feel free to come up and talk to him afterwards. But now we get to do introductions, which is always exciting. I do ask that you stand up and project so we can all hear you. The microphone works pretty well, but and just basically who you are, what you do, and if there's any information you need to share with the group briefly, then you can do that. And we'll start over here in the corner. With the microphone, yeah?
Hi, my name is Danko. I'm the CEO of a company called Workfly.com. We're digital consultants and programmers.
Hello everybody, my name is Steve Aslowski. I'm a business development manager with a company called Lamasoft. It's a local company here in Ann Arbor. Excuse me. And I came here today, Danko invited me and very interested. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Lucky and I'm the CMO of a app company that is called Brax, BRAX.me. If you're interested in secure social media, take a look at it.
My name is David Metz. I'm a student at Eastern Michigan University studying public relations and minoring in business. I am currently taking Bud Gibson's class, social media, Google Search Practicum, and I'll be specializing in SEO, search engine optimization.
Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm also a student at Eastern Michigan University. I'm currently double majoring in finance and computer information systems. I'm also a student in Bud Gibson's 439 class.
Hi, my name is John Gary with MyBuys. We are really big in e-commerce, and we are just starting out with driving foot traffic into stores and branches, local advertising.
My name is Ian Burry, and I'm the Salesforce Administrator and Marketing Operations Analyst also at MyBuys.
Hi, my name is Tasha Moore with Martopia, and we are a marketing and public relations firm that helps companies start the conversations that lead to sales.
I'm Tony Menhart. I make a easy-to-make pizza product in a bright gold bag, Easy Artisan Pizza, found in local stores like Whole Foods, Lucky, Sparrow. It's fun to make your own pizza.
My name is Angie Hall, and I'm from the Career Center at the University of Michigan.
My name is Nate Hills, and I'm also with the Career Center at the University of Michigan.
Hello, I'm Dr. Thomas Blackwell with Impel. We're a company that helps people diversify their income. Looking for another stream of income, we touch them.
And Doc is the gentleman who invited me here, and we're partners together.
Hi, I'm Janine McNally. I am president of my company called Speak So They Listen. I help people speak so they are understood one-on-one in meetings and while giving presentations. And I am also the director of sales at the University of Michigan for our lean operations factory.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm an intern at Ingenix. Hi, I'm Allison Moore. I'm a content strategist at Ingenix Digital Marketing. Hi, I'm Courtney Moore. I'm a graphic designer at Ingenix Digital Marketing.
Hi, I'm Will. I'm an intern at Ingenix.
Hi, I'm Emily Bowen, and I'm a content producer at Ingenix. And I was live tweeting, so if you guys want to check it out anytime you're here, is at LA2M.
Hi, I'm Bryce Beckwith. I'm an intern at Ingenix also, and I'm an undergrad in school information. I'm Emily. I'm also an intern at Ingenix.
It was a challenge for me getting here, but I'm glad I got to this place. My name is Corey Gupton. Got experience in professional basketball, working along with Dr. Blackwell and Dave Dassow as partners. We help people create extra streams of income. I particularly deal in health and wellness, but if you guys are interested in looking to take a look to see more about it, get in touch with us or Dr. Blackwell and Mr. Dassow. You want to hear more about it. Thanks.
My name is Jen Dallum. I work for Ann State Bank Electronic Banking, and I also work on our website.
Hi everybody, my name is Jim Uzio. I am a digital strategist and I work with companies and individuals who want to increase mobility with their website. So if you have an issue with your website and would like to be more mobile, love to talk to you about it. Thanks.
Hi, my name is this thing even on? Yeah, okay, cool. Awesome. My name is George Paraso. My company's name is Brainstream Creative. I'm a videographer and I produce high quality video and with your marketing strategy in mind. So I have about, I'd say 10 plus years of experience that I've been doing the freelance thing for about 2 years now. So that's all.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm with Message Blocks. We're disrupting the event planning industry. And right now I'm looking for a digital marketing guru.
Hi, my name is Alex Williams, and I'm involved in automotive component sales.
Hi, my name is Jordan Pruce. I'm a student at Eastern Michigan University. I also intern at TMB with Scott, and I'd just like to say thank you to Derek and Scott, both of my mentors up there. So thank you.
My name is Patrick Thornton. I am one of the creative directors at TMB. Work with Jordan and Scott. That's it. Thanks for having us.
I'm Roger Rail. I do video here and several other places. And tonight is Ann Arbor Video Interest Group May meeting. So George will be there, right?
Yeah, of course.
Carter will be there. So this is for anybody involved in video in any way. And tonight's topic is really going to be a gear show and tell. So people are bringing in their favorite gear, their old gear, new gear.
I'm going to be flying drones in the restaurant.
Going to be flying drones. Okay, we'll have to talk with Carl about it. Anyway, it's at 6:30 tonight. A2VIG.org is the website. If you want to drop by, there's a place to RSVP. I also help with different kinds of data analysis and displays and things like that. So I help make ideas work.
Hi, my name is Dave Leja. I'm in IT management and found this interesting. My first time attending, this was recommended to me. Found it interesting to understand how to market IT solutions and how technical people can explain what it is that they do and what they provide.
I thought this was just wonderful. I'm Susan. It was exactly the reason I come to hear this kind of talk.
Hi, I'm Bud Gibson, creator of the Search Marketing Program at Eastern Michigan University. Have 2 students here. Not quite as many as Derek brought from Ingenix, but still I want to get some credit. We launched the Center for Digital Engagement this past January. We have been doing regular events, Friday mornings. Our next one will be June 5th, where we will be talking to the social media brains of the Detroit Tigers. Go to centerfordigitalengagement.org or simply Google Center for Digital Engagement. We'll come up and happy to have you at our events.
Hi, my name is Maurice Snyder. I started a company about 3 years ago for working with a company in the UK to distribute their products in the US used for automotive testing. It's primarily for testing for compliance and for all the electronics in a car. Prior to that, I worked for a company as director of international and for some fairly high-tech products. Right now, we're looking to improve our website marketing skills.
Hi, my name is Geraldine Chi. I currently work at the University of Michigan for Romance Languages, which is kind of unrelated to what I want to do, which is get into marketing and go to the digital landscape and figure out how to connect with people there.
Hi, I'm Karen Sherline from Print Studios. I'm a commercial editorial and portrait photographer, which covers almost everything except for weddings, sometimes videographer. And drone pilot. Lately, I got my drone back from repair finally. I didn't break it though. No, they never fly a drone, which are Wi-Fi controlled. At a meeting, every booth has, or an exposition where every booth has a hotspot. Somebody's credit card machine apparently can take over your drone and fly it into your own display, luckily, not into somebody else. Anyway, and the images I share in these meetings will go up on the group's Facebook page.
Thank you, Carter. And yeah, so most of you know me, but I'm Derek Merriman. I run Ingenix Digital Marketing. You see a lot of our team back there, wonderful people. And we focus on lead generation, inbound marketing for companies that are looking to get more qualified traffic and leads. And you know, what a great topic today. You know, I realized we all should have said our word, right? That would have been interesting, but it's not that easy, I think, to figure out your word. It's one of the points Scott made, is it takes a process and some learning. So it's always good to think, you know, what is your own personal word? I think that's something we all need to think about. At LA2M, I think our job here is education, you know, and really value. You know, we try and provide value and by bringing great speakers who teach us these new topics that we had no idea about. So I love that. And anyways, I don't know, it's just nice to see. I like seeing these guys from Orlando. It's cool you guys came out. Thank you. Cool agency. But so next week, or next month, that's still so weird for me. Next month, we have our final meeting of the season because we take summer off because we're going to go watch the Tigers and whatnot. We're just busy. We're at the beach, so we actually hold a meeting at the beach in the summer at the pool. But next month is we're going to be focusing on all the summer festivals that are going on in Ann Arbor. So the Ann Arbor Summer Festival, the Ann Arbor Art Fair, just some cool things. Christopher Taylor, the mayor, is going to be kind of emceeing. We're going to have a panel up here with some of the leaders of those different summer festivals. So if you want to get an idea of what's going on and learn about festival and event marketing, which I think will be really cool, then please come out, bring a friend. It'll be our last meeting of the summer. We'll be off for July and August. So I think that's it. Am I missing anything?
The date for June.
The date for June, yeah, it's June. Am I not offhand? It's the second.
I think it's the 10th.
Yeah, I think it's the 10th. The second. 10th. Okay, June 10th. Thank you, everybody. Yep, June 10th. So put that on your calendars, June 10th, and hopefully you'll be here. And let's give Scott Thornton one more round of applause. And please come on up, introduce yourself to him, and you guys go out, help others, make some money in the process, make sure you have lots of fun along the way. As Lucky Lynn always likes to say, right? You gotta have fun while you're doing it. All right, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for being here.